Hi, welcome to Dark Reflections YouTube channel. Today we're going to be restoring some headlights on a 91 Chevy pickup truck. Basically, I've already started sanding them. They've been really yellow from aged and so forth. I decided to go one step further. I'm going to remove all the numbers, letters, and the adjustment nipples off to give it like a really clean look. So I guess you'd call this shaving your headlights. And then we're going to be re-clearing them. They will look just like new when we're done with it. First things first, I'm going to take the tools I have here. Pretty simple. Hacksaw blade, 2-inch with 120 grit, angle grinder, and a DA with 220 grit adhesive sandpaper to it. First step first, I'm going to cut the 3 nipples off the headlight with the hacksaw. Okay, when I do cut them, I leave them slightly high. Hard to tell in the camera. But that way we sand it flush with sandpaper afterwards. I'm going to go ahead and cut the other 2 off real quick. You notice I'm actually cutting an angle this way so I don't dig into the headlight and cause a big divot. I'm trying to keep the blade as flush as possible so that we don't do any damage we don't need to the headlight housing, because once you take too much off you can't put it back on. So actually they're all slightly raised. You can barely tell it. You can see I slightly scratched the lens here, but it's very, very minor. Nothing you can really tell. So my next step is to take my 2-inch grinder with 120 grit and lightly flap these areas down, make them smooth. For that I'm going to need to get air. Alright, now I've got my 2-inch with my 120 grit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly feather these down so that they're flush. Really low speed. And kind of keep feeling your progress and see if anything's sticking out. This one here, we're going to round out the top because it has kind of the nipple going all the way across the whole headlight. We're just going to kind of round it and feather it in. It actually looks and feels pretty good. So all 3 of those are down to 120 grit, pretty much in the general area that they were cut. Now, to remove the lettering off of this is an option. I like to do it because it looks cleaner. But I actually do use that same 120 grit, but that takes kind of a bit of practice. What I would recommend for the do-it-yourselfer would be to take 220 grit on a DA sander. This piece has already been used slightly, which is actually fine because it makes the grit a little bit finer so it doesn't scratch the lenses on the headlights so bad. And basically use a dual action sander to remove all the lettering with just 220 grit by itself. Alright, next up, 220 DA headlight. We're going to sand until the numbers disappear. Now when you do this, you want to keep your DA as flat as you can. And basically, if you look here, there's still numbers here, but these are all sanded smooth. And you can see I still got a couple scratches from the saw blade here. I got to sand down a little bit further. And then right now we're going to sand down this little RH symbol, stands for right hand. And then work my way back over here. And as you wipe off the dust, you can see whether there's still scratches, old clear coat, because when these lights are made, they actually have clear coat on the whole lens. So give me a few minutes, I'll keep sanding and show you my progress. Okay, so after some sanding, you can see that all the numbers are gone. I still have a little bit of scratching on the lens that's actually in the lens itself. And you can see the difference between how clear this is compared to how yellow this still is. And basically removing all the clear coat, which is yellow, leaves you with a nice clear plastic lens, which doesn't look like much now, but after some clear coat is definitely going to be like new, if not better. So I'm going to continue to sand the other side smooth, and just going to continue to use the DA with the 220 grit paper, and I'll be right back with you.